my pleasure to welcome you all to today's presentation. Let me introduce my team members. I am Sri Arjit. This is Sindhuja, Sindhumadi, Srinidhi, Swati. Today we presenting the topic on Navy Bayes classifier model.
Definition: a Navy Bayes classifier model is a probabilistic classification algorithm that calculates the probability of a data point belong to a particular class using Bayes theorem, assuming that the input feature are conditionally independent given the class label. Formula for Bayes theorem: P of C given x is equal to P of x given C into P of C whole divided by P of x. Here, P of C given x is a posterior. This is our final answer, the probability that a data point belongs to a specific class after we look at the feature. P of x given C is the likelihood. This is the probability of seeing these specific features given that class. P of C is a prior. This is our baseline, how often the class usually occurs before we see any new data. P of X is the evidence. This is the total probability of a feature occurring across the entire data set. The example explains how Navy bias is used for spam error detection. On the left side, we have a new incoming email. It contains words like congratulations, own, price, and click here. These words are called features. These features are given to a Navy bias classifier. The classifier applies bias theorem to calculate probability. It finds two values. One is the probability that is the mail is spam. Another one is ham. In this example, the spam probability is 85% and the ham probability is 15%. Here, the spam probability is higher. The system finally classifies the mail as spam. So, Navy bias works by analyzing words by using probability to make a prediction. Next, we see the algorithm for Navy bias classifier model. Step 1 is pre-processing. We clean our raw data and prepare our features. Step 2 is fitting. We train the model by feeding it our training data set so it can learn the probability distribution. Step 3 is prediction. We then challenge the model by asking it to classify a separate unseen test data. Step 4 is evaluation. We create a confusion matrix to calculate our accuracy and see exactly where the model succeed or missed. Step 5 is visualization. Finally, we plot the result to visually understand how the algorithm separate different classes.
First, let me explain the libraries used in this program. We import pandas as PD, which is used for data handling and manipulation. Next, we import count vectorizer and TF-IDF transformer into a strict learner. These are used to convert the text data into a numerical form so that the machine learning model can understand it. Then we import multinomial Navy BIOS, which is the classification algorithm used for text classification. After that, we import pipeline, which help us combining multiple steps like text processor and model data into a single workflow. We also import train test split, which is used to divide the dataset into training and testing data. Finally, we importing the accuracy, precision, and recall, which is the evaluating matrix used to measure how well our model performs. Now let me explain the load data function. This function takes the file path as an input and reads the Excel file using pandas. Then it removes all rows containing missing values. After that, it converts the first and second columns into string format. This is the important because text processing requires string data. Finally, the cleaned dataset is returned. Next, train Navy bias function. It is used to train a Navy bias model. It takes two inputs, X-train and Y-train. X-train which contain the training text data and Y-train which contain the corresponding labels. Inside the function, we create a pipeline. A pipeline allows us to combine multiple steps into a single process. The first step is count vectorizer, and the second TF-IDF transformer, and the last multi-nominal navy BIOS. The first step is count vectorizer, which converts the text data into numerical form by counting the frequency of each word. The next TF-IDF transformer, which transform these words convert into TF-IDF values, giving more importance to meaningful words. The final step is multi-nominal navy BIOS, which is the classifier used to learn patterns from the data. Then we train the entire pipeline using the fit method with the training data. Finally, the trained data is written and can be used to predict new unseen text data. Then, now let me explain the evaluate model function. This function is used to test how well our trained model is performing. I takes three inputs: the trained model, the test data X test, and the true label Y test. First, the model makes prediction on the test data using the predict method. These prediction values are stored in Y predict. Then we calculate the three evaluation matrix. The first is accuracy, which tells us how many prediction are correct overall. The second is precision, which measures how many of the predicted spam emails are actually spam. The third is recall, which measures how many actual spam emails were correctly identified by the model. These three values are returned to evaluate the model performance. Now coming to the main execution part of the code. The program starts with the main condition, which ensures the script run only when executed directly. Then the dataset is loaded from the Excel file using the load data function. The first column is selected as an input feature and the second column is selected as a target label. After that, the data is split into two sets. They are training and testing, where 80% is used for training and 20% for testing. Next, the train navy BIOS function is called to train the model using training data. Then the trained model is evaluated using the evaluate model function. Finally, the accuracy, precision, and the recall values are printed to show the model performance.